Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Man here. Hope you're doing well. So this weekend we had Sonic 3 come out today, and I saw it last night. And, getting into the whole Sonic thing, I was one of those kids back in the 90s. My brother had the Sega Genesis, and he also had a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog video games on Sega. So we would play those games throughout most of the 90s up until N64 and when we got GoldenEye. But a lot of like in the 90s was Sonic. So I grew up playing the video game a lot. Even though I'm not a video game person, but back in the 90s, that's the one video game console in N64 that I actually did play. Even when the new Sonic movie came out, I think that was early 2020, I wanted to see it, of all the controversy with the original design of Sonic, where they had to go back and redo the entire movie and fix the CGI Sonic. And I was one of the people that walked out of that first Sonic movie like, that was actually really good. Jim Carrey was back in his 90s Jim Carrey heyday. And Sonic, the effects on Sonic looked great. James Marsden. And I actually really enjoyed that first Sonic movie. And then the second one came out, I think, in 2022. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the second one. I think it was still a pretty entertaining film. But I thought the first one was a little bit better. That was just my opinion. So, going into Sonic 3, the reviews have like an 87%. Very, very good. And so I was, you got Keanu Reeves in there now, doing the voice of Shadow. You got Idris Elba back as Knuckles. James Marsden, Jim Carrey. I was like, hey. So, what do I think? I think this is definitely the best Sonic movie in the franchise so far. They've already announced Sonic 4 for 2027. But right now, I think this is easily the best Sonic movie. Getting into my positives, the visual effects in this movie are astonishing. We've been talking a lot about what has happened with special effects. When you have the mid to early 2000s movies, CGI looked better during that time than they do now, 20 years or so later. What is going on? And I will say, Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, Tails, they all look perfection. Especially Shadow. There's so many moments with Shadow that I'm like, is that CGI? Or is that like a animatronic or a puppet or something like physical on set? You know what I mean? Because it's so seamless when either Shadow or Sonic are interacting with humans, the real human characters, that I don't even go, oh yeah, that's CGI. There's like a blur. You can't comprehend, like, is that real or is that CGI? And then you get like the third act, battle. The visuals are amazing to look at. Beautiful cinematography in the shots. So, that's one thing. I don't know how some studios have horrible CGI all of a sudden, like a lot of the Marvel movies lately. And then you get a movie like this that came out just a little over 2 years after the last one, and the CGI is perfection. I don't know. The humor in this movie, I was laughing throughout the whole movie, whether it was from Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Jim Carrey, and I'm going to get into him. Um, the humor's great. I was laughing throughout the movie. There's a lot of pop culture references. They even make fun of the 2011 Green Lantern. That was great. Um, they even have a 90s joke that anyone who played the Sega Genesis and had, if you all remember, and I know there's people out there, I was one of them, my brother was one of them, my friends, cousins, anyone who had the Sega Genesis, every time you would go play that game, any game, it doesn't have to be Sonic, any Sega Genesis game, and it wouldn't work, and you would restart it, still not working, okay, blow on it. You remember that, and you would always have that one person be like, that's not going to work. You take it out, and then you put it back in, and voila, it worked. They have a reference to that in this movie. And I was like, oh my god, that is brilliant. And even the character that says, yeah, 90s, gotta love it. They literally made a joke about every person in the 90s struggle. So when they went to go play their video game and it wouldn't work, taking it out, blowing it, and then putting it back in. That is why my generation isn't into that whole transgender thing. Because we did enough blowing in the 90s. We don't need to blow anymore. Jim Carrey. Once again, just like in the first movie, this is 90s peak Jim Carrey. I only wish it was like PG-13 because he could go even further with his Jim Carrey-ness. And if you're a fan, if you're a guy, if you're like me, who grew up in the 90s, this is 2024, exactly 30 years ago this year, we had Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, the trinity of Jim Carrey movies. This is Jim Carrey. I was watching this movie, I'm like, that's from Dumb and Dumber. That's from Liar Liar. That's from The Grinch. Even though that was in 2000. But I was like, this is peak Jim. And I want more of it. Over a 2-hour movie, or almost 2 hours. I never felt it. I enjoyed the story. The story of Shadow, I didn't know anything. I think he was created after I played the Sega Genesis games. But his backstory is very kind of like the heart of the movie. It's emotional, it's sad, it's serious. And I really enjoy how, yes, we get that a lot of humor in the movie, but then we get that balance of drama and seriousness with Shadow. And Keanu Reeves, brilliant casting as the voice of Shadow. Not to mention when they're in the battle, like fighting and stuff, there were moments that like, I don't want to go there, but this really feels like a Neo and Agent Smith moment. Them fighting in the sky, flying around, and then Shadow pummeling Sonic to the earth, to the ground, like Neo bringing Agent Smith down in the Matrix Revolutions. I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that Matrix vibe. And the action is great. Like I said, visually, it's stunning to look at. It's violent at times. It's well shot, well choreographed. Some of my negatives. A certain moment happens in the end of the second act before going into the third act, and something happens to one character in the movie, something major, like life-threatening, and I wish they spent more time with one of our other characters grappling with it, and like being more emotional, and having that moment of just like a couple moments of just dealing with it inside. Kind of like we see Shadow deal with the death of, I think it was Maria, in the flashbacks. I wish we got that with another character but they kind of just brushed by it, and I think it needed more time to sink in, to resonate, to deal with. I like Jim Carrey, and I like the Mr. Robotnik character that he plays, Dr. Robotnik. As you saw in the trailer, Dr. Robotnik's grandfather is in this movie, also played by Jim Carrey. And also, this movie also breaks the fourth wall. That's how positive. There's literally a moment in there that Jim Carrey and then the other Jim Carrey, he said something about, I forget what it was, but it's 100% breaking the fourth wall, looking at the camera, and looking at us as the audience. I thought that was funny. But going back to the Grandpa Jim, as I like to call him, Grandpa Jim, I understand why they got the character, why they needed the character. It falls in line with Shadow's history. But I also felt like watching, I don't know, they make a joke about, two Robotnik, or two of us is better than, and two, double the pleasure, double the fun. That's what it was, like something like that. Yeah, it was fun in moments, but I was like, I would rather just watch the Robotnik, the younger Robotnik from the first two movies, more so than dealing with Grandpa Jim, Grandpa Robotnik. So there were times that you didn't really need them. If you only wanted to use them in the flashbacks and the backstory with Shadow, that would have been fine. But then to have both of them on screen at the same time throughout, there were times I didn't think they really needed it. I would easily give this a 4.5 out of 5. And I actually can't wait now for Sonic 4. Who knew? Who knew that this franchise would already, in only 3.5, 4 years, already be working on number 4? Yeah, wow. So let me know in the comments below, did you see Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of Shadow? What did you think of 2 Jim Carreys for the price of 1? Let me know in the comments below. Matt the Man here. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment.